right?
Mm-hmm.
So then come back and they said they wasn't going to trade me, or they couldn't find a deal or whatever. And I go back and look, me, I'm still like, look, at the time, I'm like, I'm still a Pelican, so I'm not. Like, I'm going to still come in, be a professional. I'm going to work. We played Minnesota right after the break. And I had like 35, going into the fourth. And I got benched in the fourth quarter. And the fans was obviously booing me when I first came out. And then they like, put him in the game. We trying to win. And I got benched. And that's when they brought in Danny Ferry. And we had a conversation like, we're going to play you, after that game. Like, we're going to play you like 15 to 20 minutes a game. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. Because now, and as a basketball player, somebody tell you playing 15 minutes, bro, you're bound to get hurt.
You're bound to get hurt because you're going to bullshit. And you spending 7 of those 15 minutes getting loose.
Exactly. So I'm like, I can't do that,
And it goes to show you how disconnected the analytical kind of driven front offices are from just the overall team dynamic. You see now with a lot of the tanking also, it's affecting the rookies coming in. They're getting too used to losing, and it's even having an effect long term with them just getting placements on competitive teams. You could even flip the coin further by saying veterans get sent over there in order for their careers to die. Just imagine like you're a veteran, maybe you're the 7th guy coming off the bench, then they send you to New Orleans. Your career is pretty much done. Who wants a vet being the 2nd or 3rd rotational player freshly coming off a losing team? You fellas could go ahead and do your research and just see the list of names that have seen their last stop in the NBA this way. So in a way, you could say some of these franchises have become graveyards for a lot of vets.
And he came and, talked to, Jrue as well and hit all the young guys and, told them they were going to play them. And so ended up finishing the rest of the season, ended up getting traded in the summertime. But at that point, Rich had to come out and say some stuff too. And we ended up getting fined. And it's like, that's the toughest part about the business is that and we speak on this all the time, when a team is tired of a player, they can trade him with no consequence, right? But once a player is like, I want to do what's best for me, and because I want to compete for championships and win, it's not even about the money. Like, New Orleans offered me a crazy deal at the time. Like, it's not even about the money. Like, I genuinely want to win. And so now, because I want to win, I'm considered a villain to this team and to this fan base, And to this day, I go back and they still boo me, right? And it's like...
And that's why they still losing. You don't boo the best player in your franchise history, you appreciate him.
I'm gonna tell you what got me, though, Dre. I'm going to tell you what got me, though. And you say that, best player in franchise history, like points, rebounds, blocks, like all this. You know what's crazy? When I went back, I did not get a tribute. And that was the final straw for me.
Get the fuck out of here.
Damn, that's horrible. I'm not going to lie, that is horrible. But what do you expect from an organization that doesn't even invest in their medical staffs, their locker rooms, even towards team building and development? None of us are even surprised about Zion Williamson and the way his career is panning out so far.
Never got a tribute. I didn't get a tribute going back to New Orleans.
What?
No. Which pissed me off while the first game back, I think I had like 42 or 44, or 43, something like that. I was fucking hot.
No tribute?
Hot. No tribute. I got no tribute.
That's not true. So somebody, hey, internet folks out there.
Somebody
pulled a video of AD's first game back in New Orleans. There's no way you didn't get a tribute.
Never.
What's even crazier is that franchise is so irrelevant that people didn't even notice.
Never got a tribute. Nope. Didn't get a tribute. And so like, you know how it always goes, like, you get drafted to a team and then when you're done, it's like, damn, towards the end of the career, I might want to go back and shit. Like, I've always had that mindset. Like, and I told Miss Benson when I was going to her, right before the deadline to ask for a trade, I told her, look, Miss B, I want to get out of here. These are the reasons, whatever. Miss B was cool. Like, me and Miss B still cool to this day. And I told her, and I was like, this might not be the end though. Like, later on in my career, who knows if I was to come back and we try to do something special as I'm older and a little mature, the game develop, win a couple of championships, come like whatever. I don't know. I left that door open. And when I went back that first game and got no trip, I said, "Oh, that door is closed. I can't. That door is closed. It's no way possible. There's no way possible, bro." And it's like, that last 3 months, 2 months of the season, like it was rough. Like
maybe the Pelicans owner thought, hey, she gonna be gone by the time that team's ever in a place to win a championship.
Obviously I wore the shirt and that's all that shit. Like I wore the shirt and all. Like I get it. They had a storm. I saw this video where they had a hurricane and everybody cleared out the grocery store and it was just like my ruffles was still in there. The only ones in there. It's like I seen all that. But it's like none of that bothered me. It's like whatever. I understand. Like it was a bad breakup. Like I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna feel away. The fans, like I get it. Whatever. Like your best player is leaving. Like nobody wants that. But at the time when I was there too, it was we can't never get AD help. Like who is these guys we're signing? So it's like you can't have it your cake and eat it too. You can't say like we not giving him help, but then when he decides to leave, you're mad because he's leaving because he wants to go to a win. And I always thought I was gonna go back. And when I walked into that arena, and it's the emotion, man, it's the emotion. Like you haven't experienced it obviously, but like it's emotional as fuck. Like going back, I was just here 7 years and I come out and it's boo. I'm talking about like loud, all boos. And so I'm sitting on the bench and I'm sitting there and they calling everybody. And I look up, Anthony Davis, and I'm like, oh shit, ain't nothing on the screen. Go out and I said, oh yeah, okay, watch this. And I was so pissed. Dre. Like not one. It wasn't even a graphic that said thank you. It was nothing. It was nothing, bro.
Damn. AD is hurt. Damn, I feel for him though. That's what makes this media landscape very interesting now. The players can actually voice these things and further craft the characteristics of each of these organizations. Some of these owners, they're used to pre-internet days bullshit, and they don't realize the power of some of these narratives before it's too late. It's so bad with the Pelicans, I'm surprised they don't have a Glassdoor reviews that's gone viral on Reddit or some shit.
Yeah, that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
And you were what, 5-time All-Starter?
Yeah.
New Orleans may not have 5 All-Star appearances combined around you. I mean, CP was there, but you get my point.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Come on, man. My point is, there's been some dogs there. Not to discredit CP
for sure,
and D-West and
Zion.
Yeah. But you get my point.
Yeah.
That's a bad organization, though. That organization does not have the history to not celebrate a 5-time.
Yeah, it was bad, bro. It was bad. Like
you don't just get 5
twice. First round get swept by y'all. Second time we go second round. Get a win, and it was like, I don't know, that hurt the most. It was like, y'all not even like y'all taking these last 2 months and making it seem like this was the entire 7 years. And then you had some of the announcers and reporters, all this stuff saying this stuff like, oh well, they rolled out the red carpet for AD, and they did not. No, they did not.
What they do?
No, they did not. They didn't do anything. Like they tried to offer me the max contract, but at that point I was like, man, it's not about the money. I'm trying to win.
You'll get max wherever you go.
Yeah, and so it was like, they brought David Griffin in after, and me and him had a conversation that didn't last very long, and I told him what I wanted, and he said he couldn't do it.
Now hold up, let's re-examine this, because AD is asking them to make moves in order to win. He didn't necessarily want to leave. Paul George had alluded to this with the Indiana Pacers. He asked them to make a trade for AD, having all his ducks lined up, but the Pacers let him know that they're the type of franchise that's just happy to be competitive. Matter of fact, I'll link that segment in the description below. But some of these legacy owners, especially with all this tech money coming in and private equity, they're going to have to get the fuck out the way at some point.
So I was like, all right, it's it. And at that time, like for me, like you say, Zion's a fucking phenomenal player. Like when he's on the floor, bro, he's unbelievable. But I know what we just lost, right? We had Rondo, and DeMarcus. Right, Rondo goes to LA. Bug come to y'all, and we get Julius and Elfrid Payton. Right, and I go, and Julius wasn't even like Julius at the time.
He wasn't this Julius.
He wasn't this Julius. He was still getting there. And I was like, look, I know how Jrue operates with the point guard next to him. We just seen it, with Rondo. Like Jrue basically beat Portland, but he shut down Dame and CJ, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I tell David Griffin, I said, listen, if you can get Ja Morant at 1, then we got a real conversation going on, because I know how it's going to help our team with Jrue, right? If Jrue got to handle the ball, like Jrue, he loves to get people involved, but like Jrue, we go score. We got somebody else who can do that now, who can play make. When we give you the ball, we need you to go beat Jrue.
Now, AD, you're under the assumption that the Pelicans have people in the building who could actually team build and perhaps compete on a higher level, which really triggers, AKA ownership. You got to spend more money on the team. And that right there, I don't believe the Pelicans are in the business of that.
And that's when he's at his best, and he was like, he can't, he got to take Zion. And I just didn't see at the time where like me and Zion will work. Like we were playing the same position. Like at this time, I was only playing the 4. I was never the 5.
Yeah.
I never played the 5. And so it was like, well, is Zion gonna play the 3? But at the time we had Solomon Hill, Dante Cunningham. So it's like, then you got Jrue at the 2, and we just brought in Julius. So like, well, are you gonna bench Julius? Like who's getting benched? Right? You're not gonna bench your number 1 pick. So at the time,
unless you got 35 going into the 4th, but that's a whole nother conversation.
That's it. Unless you got 35 going into the 4th, like we got to bench him. So that's still crazy. And so I was like, I just didn't see how to fit at the time, and ultimately it worked out like for me, win the championship. But I was like, I wanted to always be the guy that sticks with the franchise for his entire career. Like, I don't want to, like, this last year being alive, this shit is crazy. Like, it's the crazy, and I know we'll get into it or whatever, but it's like I always thought I was going to finish in New Orleans, right? Start in New Orleans, finish in New Orleans, and never go anywhere. And when we just didn't align on our goals as far as winning, it just took a bad turn. But we had to do some things, like had to get loud in the media, and I had to go out and be a villain, and Rich had to say what he had to say in order, for it to get done. And I think now people are starting to like see and understand a little bit, but they didn't see it at the time, which
really shows you the difference between from the old analog cable TV to more web-based social media and streaming. The power to control the narrative now has fallen into the hands of the players more than ever.
What, this is seven years ago? So, it is what it is, man.
They still ain't got it right.
Yeah.
7 years later. Still ain't, they're in the worst position they was when you left. 7 years later.
I left. So it's like, man, it's tough, because I met like all my friends to this day, that I like from New Orleans, like my chef, my stylist, what I'm saying? Like everybody that I knew, I only knew New Orleans. I only knew in New Orleans, bro. Like New Orleans was me. Like coming in at 19 and then all the way to 24, 25, I'm like, all I know is New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? And that shifts quick, and when I had to, it was tough though, because when Rich was telling me, like, you got to go to the media, and I never talked about this, by the way. You getting the first exclusive. I've never spoken to anybody about this, in the media. But it was like, when Rich told me, like, you have to, like, bro, you got to go and say, I was like, no, hell no. Be a villain? Man, change? I was scared. Like, at first I didn't want to be traded, because I'm like, change is different, man. Change is hard.
Hell yeah.
Change is hard. And I was like, that's all I know. And I was like, to go to New Orleans, because I started doubting myself. Like, man, I know I can do it in New Orleans. I'm going to get all the balls, but I'm about to go play with Bron, Spotlight. I'm going to play with Rondo. Like, I'm about to play with all these players in LA. Or wherever at the time, I didn't know where I was going. But, like, I'm about to go play with some guys. And it's like, am I ready for that?
Now, my only issue about that season he requested the trade is that they were coming off the previous playoffs where they swept CJ and Dame. Remember that when Jrue Holiday was cooking CJ and Damian Lillard? They entered into the following season with a winning record. While AD was sort of faking an injury, it kind of looked like it at first. But the Pelicans, that team was pretty solid. But eventually, somehow Clutch Sports found their way in and changed course.
You know, I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm like, man, I don't know. Let's figure this out over here. You know, I hit Bron, like, Bron, you want to come over here? Like, I'm hitting everybody trying to figure it out. So I didn't have to leave. So, because I was comfortable, you know, and I mean, I'm glad I did make the change, but that shit was tough when he was telling me what I had to do, and I was like, man. But at the end of the day, you know, I had to grow up and do what's best for me at the end of the day, and let the rest take care of itself.
So Ja Morant gets drafted number 1 instead of Zion, and you're probably still a New Orleans Pelican today.
I think, yeah, I'm probably still in New Orleans.
And you asked David Griffin, draft Ja Morant, and he didn't.
Yep.
That's why you listen to your star player.
So you got to take.
That's why you listen
Zion
to your star player.
Yeah, you got to take Zion. Yep.
That's why, man. And wow.
Of course, they were going to take Zion because he's a much bigger draw. They can get all those ticket sales. When you really think about it, that's how messed up the Pelicans are. All that free marketing and promotion from the NCAA with Zion, especially him coming up at a time when TikTok started blowing up. So Zion Rise came alongside that platform. And now we can see how the Pelicans are not necessarily set up to even capitalize off of something like that. They'd even try to maintain the hype. And when I say maintain the hype, I'm talking about everything that it comes with. Keeping Zion on point, giving him the proper medical staff, trainers, start to cultivate him a little bit more, put some vets around him, maybe in the second season, third season. If you look at the Pelicans setup right now, they still got nothing.
But Washington's in a rebuild. You know, they've been rebuilding for a few years now. What is those conversations like? Obviously, they swing and get Trey. You know, they swing and get you. So clearly, they're trying to work their way out of the rebuild. But sometimes that just doesn't happen right away. You're in year 14, soon to be year 15 like myself. What are those conversations like with you as far as like being a part of a rebuild and trying to see that through?
From the outside looking in, Dre, like, people don't understand. I didn't understand. I was one of these guys too. It was like, damn, Washington? Like, what? But then when you get here, you look at the facility, you look at, you know, the little details of it, the team. It's like, not bad. Like, I like the young guys on the team. Like, these motherfuckers can play. You know what I'm saying? Like, they play hard. They're not afraid of the moment. They're not scared. Like, these guys can really hoop. And so for me, you know, I'm like, when I talk to the GM, when I talk to the owner, when I talk to the president, I'm always going to be about winning, right? No matter what, I want to win. And if that's here, then that's here, you know. But when you're, like you said, when you're in a rebuild, you know, and for me, I'm at a young 33, and every year that I play from here on out, I want to be able to compete for a championship.
I hear you, AD, but you're also at that age where you're becoming less and less available. And in today's NBA, star players like you, Ja Morant, and of course Trae Young, you guys have major issues on availability, and they're looking at your contract. If the number is too high, you guys basically become untradeable assets. Even though you're stars, we're seeing this season, you still become untradeable. Look what happened to Trae Young. The Wizards didn't have to give up any draft assets to get him. Again, I promise to take some of you fellas off your daily algorithms, and we tapping into a different way of perceiving this game right now. Yes, Anthony Davis does have value, but if he's not available in today's NBA as a star, getting paid almost $60 million a year for whatever team he currently is on, he's basically untradeable. He's a dud asset.
And if their goals align where it's like, you know, I just know, and you know, it's tough to be one of the worst teams in the league, and then next year you're a championship contender.
It's tough thing.
You know, but now if you're saying, hey, look, we can go from one of the worst teams, hey, we make playoffs, you get, you know, first, second round, and you stacking, then, you know, it's a different conversation. Yeah. You know, but it's not going to happen overnight, right? And so for me, like, I want to be able to compete for championships. And, you know, obviously this team is not there yet, you know? So I got to, like, I'm going into the summer, you know, having conversations with them. Like, what's realistic? Like, what are y'all thinking? If we are, you know, trying to win, what other players are we getting? You know, are we getting other players? You know, like, what can we do? What's the flexibility? What the flexibility do we have? And then kind of go from there. But at the end of the day, I want to compete for championships. Like, I've been to the playoffs, I've been to the West Conference Finals. I want to win. You know, I want to win. Like, goes back to the earlier conversation. Like, I want to go on the road. I want to go on the road, man. I want to go on the road and say, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So my desire for winning a championship, like, that's what I want to do. And you know, I've expressed that to them, and, you know, there's more conversation to be had though. But, you know, I do like these young guys. You know, I want to compete for championships, and, you know, who knows? Maybe it's here. I don't know.
You know, when we look at AD right now, he's in a very unique situation, as he came up in two different versions of the NBA. Him being in his early 30s, he's sort of used to that. Oh, I'm a max player. I got the leverage. I can request a trade. Even though I get hurt and play 65 games a year, I'm still eligible for max contracts due to my talent. That version of the NBA is dying off. Him, KD, LeBron, that's what they came up. That's what they were used to. But just them working out a contract today is a lot different. KD's already taken a pay cut in Houston. The Lakers let LeBron James' player option basically expire. That never ever happened to the man throughout his career. So business-wise, this NBA environment is very different. And I'm not sure if AD has been put onto it yet, the way he's speaking. It is what it is. Sometimes it's good to tap into a different side of the algorithm and get into a little deeper bag about some of the nuances. But you fellas definitely hit up the links in the description below. Check out my NBA True Story playlist. And until next time, you guys stay safe. Peace.